G'day there guys, lays awake at night feeling guilty that he pretended to be a girl or to get free stuff on RuneScape when he was 13 years old here. It's your boy Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. If you love today's content, I want you to tell me what you think about it down in the comments below, smash that like button and enjoy the show. Thank you. Posted by user waitress_FML00. Titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to return a tip and telling a couple that I don't have time to play mediator? I'm a 22-year-old female waitress at Texas Roadhouse. This is one of my 2 jobs to put myself through college. Most days are fine, but other days are a living hell. Yesterday, I was assigned a table that had a husband, wife, and what appeared to be a teenage daughter, maybe 17. Everything was going smooth at first, and the wife ordered a margarita. The husband then tried ordering a beer. The wife instantly lost her noodles and said, no, he will not have a beer. He will have a water. She then turned to him and said something along the lines of him not needing to drink because he was driving. He said no, the daughter could drive. It was childish. Anyways, he keeps telling me he wants a beer. She keeps telling me no. In this industry, situations like this are a lose-lose for waitresses. If I get him the beer, the wife won't tip, and if I don't get him the beer, he won't tip. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. So, while they were arguing at me, I said, listen, I really don't have time to play mediator here. They went silent. I went and got both of them their alcohol. Daughter gives me an apologetic look upon my return, presumably because her mother was acting bat crap crazy upon seeing me bring a beer in tow. Flash forward to after their meals. Husband has had 2 beers at this point. Wife has stopped drinking and glares at me every time I return. Wife and daughter go to the car while husband pays. Husband drops me a $40 tip on a $68 tab. I told him I couldn't accept it. He insisted. Eventually, I pocketed it. The wife comes in an hour or so later, demanding that I give her the $40 her husband gave me, stating that I was a terrible host and went against her and I don't deserve a tip. She got my manager involved who said, she's not obligated to give you her tip. You left the restaurant and the tip has already been processed. Have a nice night. She was fuming, screaming at me about how much of an a-hole I was for supplying her husband alcohol after she said no. Other guests started chiming in, saying that she was being ignorant and that I was doing my job, which is to provide guests with what they want, and said that it wasn't my fault that she was a controlling wife. She storms out. Given the fact that I was put on the spot like that, I feel insanely guilty. Am I the a-hole? Look, I think it's only natural that you would feel insanely guilty as you were actually in this situation in person and your job is on the line given what you respond with in this situation. I can't blame you for being guilty because you want to be on the side that gets you in the least amount of trouble. When she said you're an a-hole for supplying her husband alcohol after she said no, made me question who wears the pants here? Is she trying to treat her husband like a child? No, you can't have alcohol. I said no, okay? I think those 2 need to work on their relationship. I think unless there is a problem that we're not seeing, feel like it was wildly inappropriate for her to be denying him that, especially when they did have a safe way home, which was their child driving them home. But hey, I am not omnipotent, we don't know the situation, we only see it at face value. She's an entitled parent Karen for coming into the restaurant afterwards and having a go at you. I think that's completely not on. And for how things were handled and the results, you're not the a-hole. I don't think you could be the a-hole in this situation. Not the a-hole in my opinion. The manager has your back, which is good, and the other customers as well. Really, she's ticked at her husband and not you. Edit, I think some people are reading this as if I think the wife is a harpy and drinking and driving is fine. I don't, and I have no idea what happens in their life. For all I know, he pulls this crap all the time, or she's the one who always has a glass of wine and he never gets to, etc., etc. Just, it's clear the actual annoyance was not with the staff. But I think it would have been better if she was more professional by saying, I will come back later and take your order. But anyways, This is the right answer. OP is not the a-hole, but the right answer would have been to smile and say, "It sounds like you folks need 10 more minutes to decide," and just leave and let them fight it out first. Why do we expect more professionalism from minimum wage employees than the people they serve, who are likely not minimum wage employees? Well, the way I see it, in this case, professionalism is an excellent excuse to nope right out of that uncomfortable situation. But I agree with you completely. Yo, look, you need maybe an hour to figure out what to drink? I'll swing back by then, gives him a cheesy smile. Well, an hour is how long a therapy appointment takes, so that sounds about right. She wasn't even really unprofessional. She firmly drew a boundary so that she could effectively do her job. In fact, at a certain point, I'd argue it would be unprofessional not to clearly state the scope of your role as an attempt to remove yourself from the situation. They were being incredibly inappropriate. Just because you're being paid for your time doesn't mean people can treat you however they'd like. I agree that attitude is important, and it's on the professional to take the high road, but only to an extent. You are not a punching bag. Especially when, as this comment notes, servers generally aren't even paid a livable wage. This poor girl probably puts up with a hell of a lot at the Texas Roadhouse. You did perfect. F that lady. You're not responsible for her insane control issues or their terrible marriage. The mum is the a-hole for sure. Who comes back in demanding a refund on a tip that they didn't give? The audacity. I'm glad your manager was cool about it too. Spend that 40 frivolously on yourself. You absolutely deserve it. Posted by user Ananoir. Titled, "Am I the a-hole for flipping out of my son's school after they lied to him about donation prizes?" My son is in the 4th grade. School is only open on Mondays. The rest of the week he is home with me. They don't do virtual learning during the rest of the week, no Zoom calls are made. No teacher actually checks in. Homework at home is not to be sent back to the school, and instead they get a participation grade the following week if they tell their teacher they completed it. It's backwards, and your students are being graded for the work they actually do. Every Monday we get a new flyer in the mail asking for donations. Last week we got a flyer that said to send out 20 emails to individuals to ask them for donations with the promise of prizes for participation. They also had other prizes on this flyer. Basically, the more people who donate using your name, the bigger the prize you get. My son wanted the headphones prize. Nowhere on the flyer did it say how many donations were needed. I called the school to ask and they said 12. I sent out the 20 emails, and 14 people donated. The donation list was to be emailed to the school with the student ID, and we were to pick up the prizes this past Monday. Son was losing his mind excited because he got the 12 donations needed for the headphones. We walked in, and they proceeded to tell me and my son that he did not qualify for the prize because in order to be eligible, you needed to get those 20 donations. Apparently, the prizes for donations started counting after you received the 20. They turned damn near every student away, not just my kid. So I sent the boy out with his father and pulled the teacher and principal aside to let them know that I thought it was screwed up that they got these kids' hopes up for absolutely nothing, and that all they accomplished was destroying the children's spirits by lying to their faces. I then told them that I was told by the secretary that he only needed 12 donations for those headphones. They said, "Sorry you feel that way. This is just how things are right now due to the pandemic." So I responded with, "Oh, so lying to students and breaking their spirits is okay because of the pandemic? Failing to provide virtual learning for the rest of the week like other schools is okay because of the pandemic? Asking for donations when the kids are only here once a week must be okay too, right?" I then walked out. Well, my son got the headphones in the mail today with a note from the superintendent that said, "I'm very sorry for the actions of the school system and the confusion formed around the donation drive. We are trying to work with the families, not turn them away. Please accept this as an apology." My son is over the moon. My husband says that I was being a Karen and that we should have just dropped it because it teaches our son that life isn't fair and that I now look like an a-hole helicopter parent. Am I the a-hole? I don't think I am. I agree with the dad that life is unfair, but I feel like you shouldn't have dropped it just because life isn't fair all the time. When things like this arise, obviously you're going to fight for your kid, and you're going to tell your kid to stand up for yourself in this unfair world. The headphones were only the tip of the iceberg with this entire situation. The 2 points that she brought up afterwards, saying failing to provide virtual learning for the rest of the week is okay, and asking for donations when the kids are only there once a week, is cool, right? It feels like there's a myriad of problems not being addressed by the school, and OP is standing up for their child and the child's education. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not a Karen thing to do. Karens make points of frivolous, stupid situations. OP here is standing up for their child and doing what is best for the future of their child. That's the complete antithesis of Karen. So I feel like the husband is off the mark with his comments here, and I think OP is justified in flipping out, so I'm gonna say not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Being a Karen is when you make an overly dramatic scene over something that either doesn't matter or isn't actually an issue. You made a point to pull the principal aside and not make a public scene to make a legitimate point. Right? OP's husband is being pretty disrespectful if every time she steps up for what is right, she gets called a Karen. Who says that to their wife anyway? Yup. This is the thing I don't like about Karen being a thing. It's now a way to browbeat people, especially women, away from causing a stink about actual problems. It's kind of misogynistic and a tool to keep uppity women in line. That's what I see it mostly being used as. It's unfortunate because it's usually used to describe middle-aged women, 40 to 60, who sometimes don't learn to use their voice until then. Yup. It also conflates a really wide range of behaviors like requesting a wrong be corrected, being a little annoying, standing up for yourself, and blatant racism. I would much rather we say things like, that woman just called the cops on a black kid selling lemonade than, oh my god, look at that Karen. Call things what they are, not the funny name that manages to both trivialize horrible behaviors and overinflate mildly irritating behaviors. Also, spouse-on-spouse name-calling is just never a good look. Not the a-hole. It sounds more like a pyramid scheme than a fundraiser, and by not laying out clear guidelines for prizes, it allowed them to pull crap like this. They knew exactly what they were doing. Seriously, her son sounds like he goes to the Arbonne elementary school. Oh no, that's really mean. Posted by user Psychedelic Corp Psycho, titled, Am I the a-hole for using my hot tub nude? Background, I live in a state where it's legal to be naked on your property as long as you're not engaging in lewd activity. My husband and I recently got our first home. It's a decent-sized property, 0.5 acres, and has 6 feet fences. We have a porch on the back that I decorated with lights, and we put in a hot tub. I put a projector screen across from it, blocking the view. We use the tub nude only late at night, and all other times we have our suits. The neighbors to our left have huge plants to block the property line. Perfection. I went ahead and put similar plants on my back property line to block the view. Anyways, the neighbors behind us are kinda old and conservative. The woman came to my house today and basically screamed at me for being naked in the yard. She threatened to call the cops next time I did it, to which I informed her on the Florida Statute 800.03, I explained to her all the precautions we took. Honestly, I'm surprised anyone can see anything. Our property is in the middle of the acre, and there's a ton of plants and trees. She threatened to report me to the HOA and the police anyways if I continue. She already confronted me about smoking marijuana, but I have my medical card and ever since then, she's been on my ass about everything. Am I the a-hole for refusing to stop using my hot tub on my porch in the nude? Edit to add, we have tinted screens on the porch, but maybe the projector lights it up. Either way, it's still hard to see that far. I ordered dividers from Amazon anyways. I don't know how this is a question. You've got a peeping Tom old lady that's on your ass about everything. It's her prerogative if she wants to look into your acre of property and see, hey, there's some naked people there. I'm going to choose to be offended by this. Because it's really only affecting her. No one else is intentionally going out of their way to do this and then kicking up a fuss about it with you. If anything, given her attitude about the whole situation, she's the only a-hole here. You're on your property, it's legal, you're doing it late at night, you're not exposing yourself to anyone. What's her deal? Get rid of her, throw her in the trash, do whatever you want, but you're not the a-hole. Not the a-hole? You know the rules, and so do I. OP does know the rules, which makes this a case of harassment and wasting police time, as the neighbor knows the acts she wishes to report are not illegal, nor are they actionable. What is illegal and actionable? Voyeurism, harassment, wasting police time, filing false police reports, assault. Many jurisdictions cite causing a reasonable fear of imminent bodily harm as assault in and of itself, intimidation, etc. When I spy on you, over your 6-foot privacy fence, through the plants you installed for your privacy, on your own property, a considerable distance from my property, I expect you to be fully clothed. Or else. Not the a-hole. It's your property. I'd be raising questions as to how and why she's peeping on you and your husband. Why is your neighbor watching you across the acre yard? Tell her to call the cops and you can discuss your concerns about her harassment with them. I live in a neighborhood with a lot of elderly folks, and the first thing I notice is how they have literally nothing better to do than snoop on the neighborhood. Exactly this. I got told off for being naked in the bathroom because an old woman could tell I was naked. Reminds me of a joke. A woman calls the police, they come over and she says, "My neighbor is in the shower completely naked and you can clearly see it through the window." The officer looks out her window and sees a guy in the shower, but you can only see his head and neck. "Ma'am, you can't see anything inappropriate from here." The woman pulls the chair over to the window and says, "Stand on this and you can." Not the a-hole to OP. I wish I had a hot tub. Posted by user Quarter Humble. Titled, "Am I the a-hole for pursuing full custody because my ex asked me for help?" My ex and I have 2 kids, 11 female, 8 male together, and I have another with my current husband, 7 female. My ex usually has them every other weekend. Last weekend, my ex called me to come get my daughter at 1 a.m. Apparently she had food poisoning, at least I think. She didn't have a fever or anything and was fine the next day except for a stomachache, and had to run to the bathroom to throw up, and ended up vomiting and pooing at the same time. I asked him to handle it because it was 1 a.m. and he lives almost an hour away, but he insisted he couldn't. I came over and found my daughter sitting on the bathroom floor crying, and there was vomit and poo everywhere because my ex hadn't cleaned it up. He said he was too disgusted and couldn't deal with it. I ended up cleaning the bathroom and wiping my daughter down with some washcloths. I woke my son up and took them both home, and we didn't get to bed until almost 4 a.m. The next day, I called a lawyer and then informed my ex that I was pursuing full custody because he clearly can't handle having the kids if he can't take care of them when they're sick. He obviously disagrees, and now I also have mutual friends and my dad saying that I don't understand how hard it is to be a single parent because I have my husband to help, and it wasn't his fault that he was overwhelmed. Am I the a-hole for pursuing full custody after this? I always find it hard to believe situations like this are even real in this day and age. Like, are they really excusing this man for not looking after his daughter when she's as sick as she is? Because it genuinely is no excuse. There is no excuse for him having to call his ex to come and deal with the problem. This was completely his problem to deal with, and he failed as a parent to look after his own kid. That's the cold hard truth of the situation. Yeah, diarrhea and vomiting sucks. It really sucks. But it's your kid. You have to do it no matter how disgusting it is. I can't blame her for going for full custody because this can only be one of many issues that he's failing to pick up on as a single parent. And obviously, this will be discussed in the courtroom, but, I'd be embarrassed to have a dad that wouldn't want to look after me like that. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole for pursuing full custody after this. It may or may not work out, but at least it'll give him a reality check. He wasn't overwhelmed, he was disgusted. That right there should tell you what kind of parent he'll end up being. Not the a-hole. Edit to add, I can't believe you cleaned his bathroom for him. Seriously, you were nicer than I would have been. Yeah. Should have cleaned up the kids and taken them with you and left the bathroom as it was. Your husband didn't help you clean that bathroom. You knew what to do on your own. If he can't clean up poop and vomit, he shouldn't have the kids, period. He's basically saying he shouldn't have to do it because it's women's work. Oh, whoa, alright, we're starting to drift a little off the rails here. We don't have anything that says that he doesn't want to do it because he's a man. The whole story points towards him not being able to do it because he isn't a man. If she hadn't done it, he probably would have called ServPro or something. I don't think this has anything to do with him being misogynistic, it's just him being a child himself, which is still easily a good reason to get full custody. Then let him call ServPro. He didn't stop OP from cleaning up, he let her. Whether this guy only wants to parent when it's fun or easy or clean doesn't really matter. He let his daughter down and has proven he can't cope. That's not only a moral issue for the kids, but presents safety concerns as well. Not the a-hole. I found my daughter on the bathroom floor crying and there was vomit and poo everywhere. Yeah, no. It sounds like that's no longer a safe environment for them. Truth. CPS literally takes kids away from situations where the kids are covered in their own filth and fluids. How hard is it to run a bath or shower, or comfort a sick kid? I can't imagine what the ex would have done if OP didn't swoop in. He could have even stuck her in the shower with her clothes and all, then just let the water run to do its thing. Anything would have been better than just letting her sit in filth like that. Your mutual friends and dad are being sexist. Single mothers are expected to clean poop and vomit all the time without fanfare. If your ex-husband is disgusted by poop and vomit so much that he has to call you in the middle of the night to deal with it, then he obviously cannot handle being a parent, not the a-hole. This. You don't know how hard it is. It's not that effing hard. Parents are expected to clean up bodily fluids when their kids are sick. Mums do it alone, dads do it alone. Even married couples have to deal with it alone when their spouse is out and a kid gets sick. I would also expect my brother to do it if he has my kids when my husband and I are out of town. It's just something that you gotta deal with when you have a kid and get it done. This total acceptance of callousness towards a sick child because dad is too weak to deal with parenthood is mind-blowing. Not the a-hole by 1000. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enabled me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.